Reach for the speed, reach for the wisdom, go where the rail may run. Reach for the world, reach for the story, follow the rainbow sun. To a shining time station, where dreams can come true, waiting there for you.
What are you doing with these water glasses?
Okay, each one has a different sound, and together they make the scale.
Really?
I think somebody's calling me. Listen. Yeah, that's my name. Don't wear it out.
That Tito's getting real popular.
It's about time I'm getting the attention I deserve.
Oh, brother. Ah, Mr. Conductor, come on in. Say what?
Well, don't mind if I do, Billy.
Hey, Mr. Conductor. How's Thomas and Bertie and James and Edward and everyone else on the island?
Wow. Let me think. Well, good, very good, pretty good, and awful.
I think you're going to have to explain a little bit better than that, Mr. Conductor.
Explain what?
Explain what's happening on the island of Strodon.
Well, that's what I've been trying to do. Thomas was having a good day, but Bertie wasn't having a good day at all. Well, let me tell you about it.
Thomas the tank engine was feeling bright and cheerful. It was a splendid day. Good morning, he whistled to some cows, but the cows didn't reply. Never mind, said Thomas. They're busy with their breakfast. Next, he saw Bertie. Hello, Bertie. Care for a race today? But all Bertie could say was, ouch! That's another hole in the road. I'm sorry, Bertie, smiled Thomas. Thomas was still in good spirits when Bertie arrived at the next station. Bad luck, Bertie. Now, if you were a steam engine, you would run on a pair of reliable rails. Huh, replied Bertie. The railway was supposed to deliver tar to mend the road 2 weeks ago. You can't trust a thing that runs on rails. I run on rails. You can trust me, Bertie. I'll see if I can find out what's happened. And Thomas puffed away towards the big station. James was snorting about in the yard. It's too bad, he grumbled. Percy goes to work at the harbor, and I do his job. Here, there, and everywhere. Take that. Oh, groaned the freight cars. Just you wait. We'll show you. Gordon laughed. I'll tell you what, James. If you pretended to be ill everywhere, you couldn't shunt freight cars here or go to the quarry there, could you? What a good idea, agreed James. Look, here comes Thomas. I'll start pretending now. Thomas was sorry to see the engines looking miserable. Cheer up, he puffed. It's a beautiful day. Yes, grumbled Gordon, but not for James. What's the matter? Asked Thomas. He's sick, replied Gordon. Yes, he is. I mean, I am, stuttered James. I don't feel well at all. Don't worry, said Thomas kindly. I'll help out if you're ill. Gordon and James snickered quietly to each other. Some of James's cars were coupled behind Thomas, and he steamed away to the quarry. The cars were still cross. We couldn't pay James back for bumping us, so we'll play tricks on Thomas instead. One engine is as good as another. But Thomas didn't hear them. He collected all the stone from the quarry and set off back to the junction. Danger lay ahead. Now for our plan, giggled the cars. Go faster, go faster. They pushed Thomas over the switches. Slow down, called Thomas's driver, and applied the brakes. Poor Thomas stood dazed and surprised in a muddy pond as a toad eyed him suspiciously. Bust my buffers, muttered Thomas. The day started so well, too. Duck pulled away the cars, and Edward helped Thomas back to the junction. Suddenly, Thomas remembered the missing tar. He told Edward all about it. That's strange, said Edward. A car full of tar has been left at my station. That must be it. Driver will make sure it gets to Bertie now. Later, James spoke to Thomas. I'm sorry about your accident, he muttered, and so is Gordon. We didn't mean to get you into trouble. No, indeed, spluttered Gordon. A mere misunderstanding, Thomas. All's well that ends well. Just then, Bertie arrived. He looked much more cheerful. My road's being mended now. Oh, I am glad, replied Thomas. Thanks for all you did, added Bertie. Now I know I can trust an engine, especially if his name is Thomas. Gordon and James puffed silently away to the shed. But Thomas still had company. Well, well, he sighed. What a day for surprises. The toad, who was looking forward to a ride home, noisily agreed. Thomas showed once again that he's a trustworthy engine who can always be counted on. There's you.
Are you catching a cold?
No. Nothing. I'm fine. In fact, I'm going to take a trip.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the South Pole to visit a friend of mine. He's a penguin.
Oh, Mr. Conductor, you're not pretending to be sick like James. You're really getting a cold. I don't think you should be going anywhere, especially not to the South Pole. Oh, it's so cold there, and look, you're hardly dressed for it.
Please, don't worry about me.
So you can take care of yourself, like Little Sneezer?
Who, may I ask, is Little Sneezer?
Have you ever seen one of these? It's a pop-up book. When you open it, something unfolds in the middle.
Ooh. Stacy, I have an idea. Why don't you tell the story, and I'll supply the pictures?
Well, that's a good idea, Mr. Conductor, but you'll have to listen very carefully, because this is a story about catching a cold and what happened to Little Sneezer, because he thought he could take care of himself. He was the toughest kid in these here parts. He was the master of all martial arts. His hands were fast, his feet were quick. There wasn't a kid he couldn't lick. He was one tough dude, but please take note. He refused to button his overcoat, or wear a hat when the wind blew cold, or put on galoshes when he was told, "That's sissy stuff. It ain't for me. I wear what I want. I gotta be free." So off he trotted into all sorts of weather. The front of his clothes rarely coming together. Stomping through puddles, he scared half the town. But there are some little dudes who he couldn't put down. They're smaller than ticks, or flies, or worms. They're mean, they're evil, they're nasty, they're germs. Just looking for kids with an unbuttoned coat to climb up their chests and jump down their throat. The more and more they come marching in with a slam to the head and a wham to the chin. They knocked him down, they laid him low, and soon he had no strength to go. The only running he was able to do was from his nose until his shoes. They squeezed his neck, they clouded his head, and threw him back upon his bed. But how did he take it? I leave it to you. With nose of red and hands of blue, he went, so what if I got a ruddy nose? I still ain't wearing all them clothes.
Well, that's all very amusing, but even if I had a cold, I could just use my magic to make it vanish.
Oh, don't be so sure, Mr. Conductor. If you're not feeling 100%, your magic may not be 100%.
That's right. All sorts of things could go wrong.
Well, don't worry. Everything will be fine. I really must be going. Oh, no! I've got to try that again.